Congressman Peters, we came out with an exclusive poll today, WXYZ and the Detroit Free Press. And in the Senate race, it has you resurging, and you're back in the lead again, this time by 6 points. In February, you were down by 3 points. What do you attribute this to?
Well, we've been out crisscrossing the state talking to folks, a real aggressive campaign on the ground. So I think it's just about connecting with middle-class voters. To me, this race is really about who's going to be the champion standing up for middle-class families in Washington, D.C., and that's what I've been talking about. And we've been able to do that even though we've been bombarded with TV ads. In fact, millions of dollars have been spent against me from out-of-state oil billionaires. But I feel good that our message of being a practical, independent, aggressive voice for Michigan middle-class families is resonating with people.
Throughout this campaign, your opponent attacked you considerably on Obamacare. Our polls show that people still aren't wild about the Affordable Care Act. Why hasn't that resonated more in terms of the numbers, pushing your numbers down instead of pushing your numbers up?
Well, I think there's a very clear difference between where I am and where my opponent is. My opponent just wants to repeal it, wants to go back to the days where women paid more for health insurance, where children were thrown off policies even if they had pre-existing, or because they had pre-existing conditions. We had costs that were rising at a rate that was unsustainable while millions of people were losing insurance. So, I am a believer that in this country, and this is the greatest country on earth, that no matter who you are, no matter where you live, you should have access to affordable quality care. And that's why I support the Affordable Care Act. I believe it moves us in that direction. There's many things to celebrate in it, but there's also things that we need to fix, and I'm about rolling up my sleeves and fixing it. One area I think it needs to work better for small businesses, and that's why I've introduced legislation to make some fixes to the Affordable Care Act so it works better for small business. But bottom line, people want to say we need to move forward. We need to make sure everybody in this country has access to quality, affordable health care, and we just have to be practical problem solvers in dealing with it, and that's what I will do.
Our numbers show that you're doing pretty well among women, but you're running against a female candidate. Can you continue to do as well, numbers-wise, with women when you come down the stretch and it turns out to be a campaign in which she stresses the fact that she's a woman and she would be the second woman from Michigan going to the United States Senate if indeed she can get elected?
Well, the important thing that differentiates the candidates in this race are issues and what you stand for and what you're going to fight for when you go to Washington, D.C. And certainly I believe that she is very wrong on pay equity. She said that she would vote against the Pay Equity Act in the Senate, which would ensure that women would have an opportunity to make sure that if they're doing the same job as a man, that they should be paid the same amount. I firmly believe that as a husband, as a father of two daughters, that a woman who's doing the same job as a man should be paid equally, and that's why you have to stand up and support the Paycheck Fairness Act. And she said she would oppose it. That's not a position that most women agree with, and I believe that's why she's not getting the support of women in the state.
You and Terry Lynn Land will have a debate here before the Detroit Regional Chamber. Anything in particular you want to emphasize during that debate?
Well, I'm going to emphasize that what we need in the U.S. Senate is someone who is a practical problem solver, who's an independent voice for Michigan middle-class families, and who will hit the ground running, aggressively standing up for the things that we care deeply about here in Michigan. And I think that's why it's so important. Hopefully we will have debates as we go forward and continue to do that, because an open Senate seat doesn't occur very often in Michigan, and the voters of this state deserve to hear in depth about candidates, our positions, as well as how we have a vision for Michigan going forward.
How many debates would you like to have with your opponent?
I will have as many debates as we possibly can. I just think it is absolutely critical that Michigan voters hear directly from the candidates what we believe in, what we fight for, and who will stand up for middle-class families in our state.
And if we offer a debate on Channel 7, you'll be there?
I will accept that debate right here on the air. If you have a debate, I will be there.
No question about it.
Oh, that sounds good. That's how I like to do it.
One final question. In the Michigan House today, they passed a minimum wage bill, boosting it to $9.25 an hour. The Senate concurred, so it's on its way to the governor's desk. Your reaction?
Well, I'm glad we're increasing the minimum wage. The minimum wage had not been increased for too long. It had trailed the cost of living over many, many years. And bottom line in this state, if someone is working full-time, is playing by the rules, they should be able to earn enough money to provide for their family. So raising the minimum wage was necessary. I'm certainly pleased with the action that was taken by the legislature today, although I do support an increase to the $10.10 level, which I think we should adopt nationally.
All right, Congressman, thank you Thanks for joining us here at the Grand Hotel on Mackinac Island.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Good. Thanks.